I had to pack up my 3,200 square foot home and relocate everything to a 1,200 square foot apartment due to being foreclosed on. That was in October of 2013. And back then, I really didn't have a whole lot of options as far as apartments that I could rent, because I needed to be able to stay in a place that was zoned to the school that my son was in at the time. And in the suburbs where we were living, we really did not have a whole lot of options. So let's fast forward to today, where we have been living through a global pandemic now for at least a couple of years at the time that this video is being filmed. And as a result of that, the housing market has just completely gone crazy. Housing affordability is a problem. And as a result of that, apartment rentals, the prices have gone up, which is making it harder and harder for people to find a place that they can live. So I certainly know what it's like to not be able to have any options. But in today's video, I want to talk to the people who are a little bit more privileged, to where they can take their time and actually select a place that's conducive to them and perhaps their long-term rental goals. I'm going to give you 10 things that you need to consider, questions that you need to ask as you go out in search of your next apartment to rent. Number one, tour the actual unit that you intend to rent. A lot of times when we go out and we're touring apartment complexes, they are showing us the model. The model is typically in the area where everything is all kept up and it's neat and tidy, because they know that that's the area that they're going to be bringing potential tenants through. But I want you to tour the actual unit that you intend to rent so that you can see exactly where you are going to be living. I know that I've read stories today that, as a result of limited supply in the apartment rental market, some people have signed a lease stating that they're going to be in one particular unit, and then when it's time to move in, they are in a completely different spot that, they really don't like. So in order to help avoid that, whenever possible, tour the actual unit that you intend to rent. Number two, visit the entire property. Look at all of the buildings. Pay attention to the landscaping. Pay attention to the grounds. Does it only look nice in the front where everyone's coming through and that's where the leasing office is? Look at the entire property so that you can get an idea for how the overall property is being kept and maintained. You need to ask this next question at every single apartment complex you visit. And that question is, what fees are being charged in addition to your monthly rent? I was completely taken aback when I found out that there were certain apartment complexes here in the Austin area that were tacking on monthly maintenance fees on top of rent. Those fees were anywhere from $25 to $45 every month. That means if you never call maintenance out to have any issues resolved, you're going to be hit with that fee. Some complexes have started to charge a fee for accepting packages in the leasing office. So I want you to make sure that you have all of the information up front and you know exactly what fees you're going to be charged every month so that you can budget and plan accordingly. Tip number 4, don't rely on the curated 5-star reviews that auto-populate on the complex's website. Those reviews are there for a reason. I want you to use your Google, plug in the apartment complex name, and then reviews at the end. I want you to be able to see all of the reviews that have been left online for the apartment complex, because that's going to help you when we get into tip number 5. Now that you've looked at all of the reviews and all of the feedback, I want you to pay attention to the negative reviews, because when you go to the community, I want you to be able to ask specific questions as it pertains to how the issues in those negative reviews have been resolved. If you're looking at negative reviews and it's just a general, statement where someone is coming on saying, "Oh, I am sorry to hear about your concerns. Please email us for more information," that does you absolutely no good whatsoever. What you want to be able to see an apartment complex do with a negative review is come online and tell you the steps that they've done, the measures that they've taken, the improvements that they've made to remedy that particular situation. So when you see a laundry list of negative reviews that haven't properly been addressed, when you get to that community, I want you to be able to point to those reviews, have that conversation with the leasing staff, and get an explanation from them as to if and how those negative reviews have been resolved. Number 6 could be a pain to deal with if you don't find this out until after you've already signed your lease and you've moved in, but you need to double check on the parking situation. Don't just rely on the leasing staff telling you, oh yeah, there's plenty of parking. Here's what I want you to do. Go to the apartment complex at the time when you would normally be coming home. If you get off work at 5 o'clock, go by the apartment complex during that time to see what the parking situation is like. If you work an overnight shift and get off later, go by at that time. So you'll have firsthand information as to what the parking situation is really like. And then from there, you can make the decision whether or not if you'll need to pay for reserved parking, which is something that I've done at the complex that I am now. You can have all of the information that you need to be able to determine if parking is going to be an additional cost that you need to factor into your budget. Okay, this next question that you're going to ask is going to help you determine if you have any negotiating power, and it's also going to help you determine how soon you need to act on signing your lease if you found a community that you really want to move into. And this is something that I know a lot of people don't think about when they're going to tour apartments and when they're considering signing a lease. But I want you to ask the leasing staff, how many units are vacant in the particular model that you're looking at? And the reason why you want to find this information out is because if there are quite a few units available, you should be able to have more room to negotiate a lower rent, as well as the flexibility of negotiating move-in specials. I am currently on my 3rd apartment complex since being foreclosed on, and I've also rented a house over the course of these years. And this is something that I have learned to ask in every single instance. In most cases nowadays, you can find this information on the complex's websites. Sometimes they don't list it because they know that there will be a handful of us who will come in and want to negotiate. So when you go to look at the vacant units, it'll just say limited availability or call for more information. So once you've narrowed it down, I want you to find out exactly how many units are available in the particular model that you're thinking about leasing. Number 8, ask if the community offers any tenant loyalty incentives. What type of perks are you given for continuing to be a long-term resident at that particular community? I'm going to give you like the worst example ever. I've been living here at the property that I'm at for almost 4 years at the time that this video is being filmed. I have never been offered any type of an incentive for renewing my lease. I've not gotten a gift card. I've not gotten a free month's rent. I have not gotten my rent reduced in any amount. None of those things have been offered to me at this community that dubs itself as a luxury living property. On the other hand, a community that I'm aware of in the Fort Worth area, every time a tenant renews, they are given a gift card, they're given a free month's rent, as well as an additional amount off that next month's rent. So you want to find out, how am I going to be rewarded? How am I going to be appreciated for spending my money with you and choosing to live here? Because that's the thing you have to realize, is that we are not moving into these communities and living here for free. There needs to be some type of an incentive. And if you find out what that is on the front end, that can better help shape your decision as you figure out where it is that you're going to move. Number 9, find out how many people are on the maintenance team. And let me explain to you why. If at any point when you looked at those reviews and you saw that people were complaining about things not being fixed properly, you saw where people were saying that it took a long time for maintenance to come out and resolve issues, finding out how many people are on staff at the maintenance team on the front end will help you get a better idea as to if you're going to be put in that situation or not. The complex that I live in has 280 units. For about 90% of the time that I've lived here, there has only been one full-time maintenance man on staff. There have been some people who have come and gone, some people who have kind of like been here on a project basis. But for the most part, over these past 4 years, this complex has been ran with only one full-time maintenance person on staff. And it's reflected in the negative reviews. This next question you need to ask ties in closely with the last one. You need to ask about staff turnover. If an apartment complex has a hard time retaining employees, that's a red flag. If it is a community that experiences a higher rate of turnover, that impacts you because every time you go into the office to address a concern, you're having to deal with a brand new employee. You're having to give all of the background information all over again, which can become extremely frustrating. I'm speaking from experience on this one. So find out what the office staff looks like, what that turnover ratio looks like. And then when you get to a community where you can see that people are staying for a long time, that could be a positive sign that can help you in determining whether or not that's going to be the community that you decide to call home. The possibility of becoming a homeowner is slipping further and further away for quite a few of us. And so keeping that in mind, as we go out and we possibly face being a long-term renter, we need to make sure that we are equipped with all of the knowledge that we need. I've got more money-saving videos and consumer-related videos coming your way. You can go to my videos page, take a scroll. You'll find videos where I'm talking about the home buying process that I am currently trying to go through. If the home prices would cooperate, I have information pertaining to your credit report, sinking funds, all things money related. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.